I can push that off a little bit, and I can bring that in a little more to get you in there, Nash. I want you in there. All right. All right. Now let's make sure those microphones are working.
All right.
I'll monitor the YouTube, and I can see the Drew. Yep. Let's see. I'll hit over here. Go to YouTube. We're almost ready to get this going because we're kind of in a little bit of a hurry tonight, right? Don't want to take up too much time. We're testing out these microphones. There we go. I'll hit that. All right. Let's see. If I just want to make sure I'm taking look. Okay. The microphone's working. Don't want to take up too much time. We're testing out. Yep, that's all there. Hey, Tater Dom. Let's go and cheers to you. All right, we're doing this special Veterans Day podcast tonight. I just want to say a shout out to our sponsors, Whiskey Thief Distilling Company there in Frankfurt. If you're around that area, it's a must. It's a barrel pick all day, every day of the week. They're open every single Sunday to Sunday, right? And then also the Spirit of French Lick, if you're ever there in French Lick, Indiana. It's in West Baden, Indiana also. But they have a really nice area, plus the distillery is there. You should check them out there. And then also you should check out Rosewood Bourbons and Ryes. Jason Giles down in Texas is doing some fantastic blending down there. Plus he's using a season of that Texas summer to really cure his bourbon barrels a little bit further. And then also make sure, if you haven't, One Piece at a Time Distilling Institute on YouTube and on all the major podcast formats. If you have Ghosts, you have everything. Alan Bishop does a wonderful job with both. All right, so we got that going. It's awesome. Video and audio are good. There we go. We're good there. Now comes the fun part. Let's see if I'll just get this going, right? We should just get this started.
Yeah, let's just get it started.
All right, I got that on. I'm just going to get this started. Once we do this, you will hear we got to have a few minutes, about a minute of quiet, and then you'll hear the theme song, and we will get it rocking and rolling. Here we go.
Drinking bourbon, sipping on scotch. We get a little wild and it's sure fun to watch. We love what we do, we're drinking every brew. Man, let's hold some sweet, but we're telling the truth. Yeah, we're the Scotchy bourbon boys, raising hell and making some noise. Yeah, we're the Scotchy bourbon boys, we're here to have fun and we hope you enjoy. We're here to have fun. Yeah. All right. Welcome back.
back to another podcast of the Scotchy Bourbon Boys. Tonight we got a special podcast here. We are doing a special Veterans Day podcast. We've got Super Nash here, one of our favorite veterans. We were just talking today. I have a new microphone system that I'm recording, okay? And I've been trying to set this up. You could just tell there's not as bulky. It's just this little microphone right here. And I just wanted to test it out. And I figured do a special Monday podcast. We're still going to be going Tuesday and Thursday live at 8:30, but this Monday, we're doing a quick podcast. We're going to pay tribute to all the veterans out there. We thank them for the service. I always thank you for your service, and we can, Super Nash, we're going to get into in a little bit while we taste some of this, how whiskey and bourbon fits into the military and the veterans of the United States, and also the veterans around the world, how it fits in. And we'll be tasting these. We're not going to be analyzing them, but we'll be talking about them. But while we're doing that, we'll kind of give a little bit of information about them. But also I would like, we want to know, we'd like to know some of your personal experiences of what Veterans Day means to you, and what it meant when you were much younger.
Yeah, because that's when I was in the Army. And just to give everybody a little bit of background about me, I come from a military family. My dad was a career serviceman. He had 23 years active duty, and it was split up over all 4 branches of the service. He had 10 kids with my mother, and we were born all over the world because he was stationed all over the world. I was born in Germany. I had a brother born in France, some in Colorado, a sister born in Fort Hueneme while he was in the Seabees. Most of his time was spent in the Army. He did 2 tours in Vietnam. He was in the Marines, and it was a pretty traumatic time for him. I was real young at the time. I was born in '65, so I really don't remember anything about that era of his life. He retired in 1972 out of Fort Carson, Colorado. He had 5 boys, 5 girls, and I was next to the last in line, and I was the only one out of all the 10 kids to go in the service. I was sort of like my dad's son. I hung around him more than anything. And so I went in the Army, and I went in the Army for 3 years. And I just so happened that I got stationed at Fort Carson, Colorado, right where he retired from. And I was trained back then in 1983 when I went in as an infantry mortarman. And back then it was pretty serious stuff, because everything was back then was all pretty much handheld and armored tanks and stuff like that. Now you have all these computer guided missiles and things like that, that they were. But I took basic training down in Fort Benning, which was pretty much like we had World War II barracks that we stayed in, so the training was pretty rough and all. And I just want to say, like I say, my dad, being a veteran, he did the two terms in Vietnam, and he also was stationed in the Philippines for a term. And he was an alcoholic, and it was pretty rough on him. All the combat that he saw, he came close to losing his life. But the second term that he was over at Vietnam, he had part of his ear shut off. So had something in relation to Trump. So, but he often told me about some of the stuff and the people that he saw killed, and some of the things that he did, which was pretty traumatic. And I guess that's what I made him, you know, turn to alcohol and stuff like that. He had it pretty rough over there. So, and as a lot of the veterans that I've talked to, uh, and that's why I have so much appreciation for the veterans of today. I've talked to so many of them, and they have come back from Afghanistan and other parts of the world that we've had battles in, and they have really seen some stuff, and and did some stuff and killed for our country. And you just don't, go to sleep at night knowing that the things that you've done or the things that you saw when you've seen your best friend, get blowed up right beside you. And I mean, these stories have came straight from veterans. And so that's why every time Veterans Day comes around, I think about all these veterans that come back, and not all of them have seen the strict combat that some of these that I've talked to have, but they go over there, and no telling when they could have seen or had anything happen to them, at any time. And that's what it means whenever you go into the service and you sign up for it and you sign that dotted line. You're basically giving the United States of America, you're writing a blank check for your life, uh, because you don't know when and where you might be sent in any time of war to defend our country. And that's why I have so much respect for all veterans of all the armed forces of the United States, because of what they face and what they agree to do, not knowing ever. And like I say, a lot of them didn't make it back, and then there's a lot that have. And so that's sort of what Veterans Day means to me, and it just gives me a chance to show my appreciation to them and each and everyone that I'm able to talk to on this day, and especially now that I'm able to do this, like this podcast, to where it reaches out to all these people that I've never been able to talk to that are veterans. And I just want them to know how thankful that I am being a veteran myself, and for what they've done. And I know what it's like, and what it's for. And once again, just thank you from the bottom of my heart and my family, for what you've done and for what you're doing, and the active duty military right now. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. We also have Walker Cyrus. He's active duty. I don't know if he's going to be on tonight, but if he is, thank you to Walker. All he does, but also both my grandpas served in the military, and my one grandpa actually served in the cavalry when he was 18 years old, and he served 4 years in the cavalry. And my other grandpa served in World War II, and he served as part of a tank. um he had what would you call it, a tank. He had team, and his commander, it's the movie Fury was pretty much described the situation that he described to me. Even as a young boy, he had weapons that he had picked off of dead German soldiers. He still had three or four of those weapons. He still had his handgun, where his handgun actually had the pictures of my mom as a 2-year old. And he kept that in on the handle, the pictures. And then he also described what happened. And his commanding officer in the tank was, they were approaching a building, and he went up to check it, and he got shot between the eyes and dropped back down into the tank. And he describes that moment when they all then turned and destroyed the building and the sniper that picked them off and everything. And so watching the movie Fury, that's pretty much what happens at one point in the movie. And it really brought that home to me. But I've always, for whatever reason, I've always known and understood what it would be like. And I don't know if enough people do understand that when you see active duty and you see active combat and you're there and it's your life or their life, but those people are fighting similar to the same, it's like what, there's some wars, but are those people, even in World War II, the Germans, those people weren't signed up for it. They were, forced to be in the military. It wasn't something they had a choice to do. And so when you're dealing with that, all those things, but then what you see, and then you come back to the United States, and it is a very, very, what would you say, friendly society to life. Probably one of the best societies that there ever was on the planet, as far as how we can live our lives and our comforts and everything that we do. And then you see some of the conflicts of what we're arguing and bickering about, but then they've been to, whether it's Afghanistan or into the Middle East, into some of those areas where the people every day they're worried about whether they're going to live or whether they're going to eat, or they don't, it's not even close to how we live. And it's very hard to adapt back into the society. So I always am so thankful to veterans, that especially those who saw combat and had to come back, because you could tell it's not an easy adjustment back. And usually the only way back is to have a really good support of their family. Like you said, those families mean so much, because otherwise you might never get them back. And, part of the homeless problem that we have with the veterans, there shouldn't ever be veterans that are homeless. But at the same time, the reason why is because they're having so much trouble adapting and fitting back into society. They mentally can't do society, so they end up homeless, and it's just, so tragic on this day. So I always am so grateful for all the sacrifices, because the sacrifices have been heavy, and it's not like, mankind's done and peaceful anymore. There'll be more sacrifices, and you can't, and when someone doesn't come back, it's the ultimate sacrifice, and their name's just a name on a tombstone in a list in Washington, D.C. And there's been so many people that have done that for us, and to get to where we are now, which is such a wonderful existence, and that's why this day means so much to me. So, all right,
That's
go ahead.
something else too, is that the mental training, like back in the early 80s when I went in, I'm not quite sure that they train quite like that today, but I mean, we actually had live fire training where they were shooting tracer bullets above, 3 to 5 feet above our head, as we're doing low crawl through mud under barbed wire and stuff like that. I mean, we were actual training like we were in combat situations, and they do the training like that back then was on purpose to weed out the the guys that were gonna freak out or not make it, in a combat situation. And I'm sure now they have a lot more vetted ways of finding that out,
Drugs.
and been doing it like they did back then.
I mean, it's just amazing, even when the people don't realize, but even when men are getting ready to go into combat, there's actually a drug that they can take, or they do take before they go into combat, that keeps them calm. And it doesn't affect their wits, but it keeps that anxiety down. And my but that drug isn't easy on the body either, mentally, when you're done, you're taking that, so anyways. All right, so we've got, one of the things we wanted to do on this podcast is quickly, first, do you have the knowledge of hand barrel? I mean,
Let's see.
I mean, because this is from Walker. This hand barrel, he got all of us, and it's a, and you have the information on this. I have not tried it, and
Got a
so
little bit. I got a little bit right here. Let me read
perfect.
what I've got.
I'm gonna. I'll
Hand
open
Barrel
mine
is a
up.
company I've often browsed past when I see them on the shelves. They're fairly new to the bourbon scene, having started up sometime in 2021 or 2022, if I've got my facts straight. Although technically their own company, they may as well be an extension of Bardstown Bourbon Company. After all, BBC contract distills their liquid, barrels it, and ages it in their warehouse, after which it gets bottled on the BBC line. All Hand Barrel had to do was provide the mash bill they wanted to use and the bottles themselves. By their own admission, the founders of Hand Barrel came up with the bottle idea first and the actual bourbon second. To be fair, it is a noticeably unique bottle looking just like a whiskey barrel. This bottle is camouflaged to denote the partnership with the SOWF mentioned above, which is, wait just a second, is Special Operations Warrior Foundation. And that's what why this bottle is looking like it is. And it was a limited edition. Which there has a focus around special operations veterans and their families. Beyond this bottle, Hand Barrel has 3 other variations on the shelf: small batch bottle, single barrel, and double oak, which I have the double oak here. But also too, this bottle, me and Walker were talking about it. It almost, we call it like the hand grenade bottle, because that's almost like what it's like too.
Yeah.
On this one, the blend is mash bill of 64% corn, 24% rye, 12% malted barley.
I mean, if it's Bardstown Bourbon Company, I mean, I don't see how it. They don't produce bad distillate.
Absolutely not. It's 105 proof, aged 2 years, and about $60 a bottle.
Yeah, I have not ever had this bottle. I've never tasted it. Hand Barrel.
You hadn't opened this up yet?
No, that just was the fresh crack.
All right. I opened mine up a couple of months ago.
So, it's definitely it definitely, when you were talking about the grenade, I was thinking you were talking about the grenades from the grenade barrels from Heaven Hill at first, but then I realized you were talking about the hand barrel, and I've been wanting to open it up, but it just, like, I figured it would be a special time. So me and you are drinking this together on Veterans Day, and cheers to you, Mr. Super Nash. Another reason why you're super.
Well, and two, also, this is, like I say, it was a special edition for the Special Operations. Let's see, Special Operations Warrior Foundation. So
how can
for veterans. So
how can
that's another good thing about it.
Right. How can that be bad? You're supporting military while you're drinking bourbon, and that's one of the things. No matter where you go in the bourbon industry, for instance, every single time I'm booking something, if I'm booking the bus tour for the Scotchy Bourbon Boys, if there's veteran discounts. I mean, we apply the veteran discount across to everybody because we just divide the total up equally. But every single distillery, there is a veteran discount. Some distilleries allow the veterans to come in and do the tour for free, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Yeah. Yes, they do.
And so, if there are advantages, if you've served your country and you are going through, there's a lot of the respect out there between amongst businesses. I find, especially in the bourbon industry, they are so thankful for their service. And there's a lot of distilleries, and we're going to get into the next distillery once we finish tasting this, that are veteran owned, or there's a lot of distilleries that hire veterans,
veterans to
preferably,
come work at them.
right?
Yeah.
And then maybe talk about what you did as a veteran at Stolen Wolf this year, that I came down to record, because that was very honorable and amazing event. And that, you did it, but it's still going, because you can
Yeah.
tell everybody about that. And then how the distillery just, I mean, it was actually the Pennsylvania veterans,
Historic Society.
right, which
Mhm.
supported the veterans, right?
Yes, absolutely. It was a Veterans Historical Trades seminar, and it was put on at Stolen Wolf Distillery in Lydic, Pennsylvania. And basically, we learned everything from how they distilled whiskey on the ships coming over seas, and then started aging it in everything from flour barrels to basically anything that they could store it, and it wasn't a matter of aging it, it was a matter of storing it on that ship. But they were actually distilling, because it was months at a time that they were floating across that sea.
Yep.
So, so that's why the distilling was going on. But then whenever they got over here, like I say, we learned the early years, even way back to George Washington, how he distilled up there
Yeah, Steve
at his
Bashore was
distillery.
there, who is
Yeah.
the master distiller of the George Washington Mount Vernon
Vernon.
Distillery in Virginia, right outside of Washington D.C. And talk about,
Completely rebuilt that distillery just as it was, and they excavated it and everything all the way down, below ground, and then completely rebuilt it just like it was back in his day, and it's a completely operational distillery now. And they're actually using like yeast in the mash bills that George Washington was having his slaves distill for him,
well,
which is another thing that for the military, they were actually, George Washington was distilling it, but it was also a part of the rations for the soldiers, you know,
mhm.
that and hard cider, a pint of whiskey and then hard cider. So that was pretty cool.
So well, talk
But
about,
I was actually to to go a little further. I was I was one of 50 veterans from across the nation uh, that was picked and able to go up there and be a part of this.
well, I was so honored because Alan Bishop, you also had Amanda Bryant from
Mm.
Moonshiner, Alan Bishop, master distiller, former master distiller at Spirit of French Lake, and now um, the master distiller at Old Homestead, and then also JJ Jackson from Moonshiners. And they were all there. Everybody was showing their home distilling talents, and then how they would do it, in the old days. But also, you also were through Stolen Wolf. They were doing a distilling run, if I'm not mistaken, and you guys all were part of it, where you filled a barrel. And one of the unique things of the 50 distillers that were there, I don't think all 50 were there, but there was a decent amount. They were all veterans, and there was old veterans, people who had been distilling. There were, young
Veterans.
ones who had just served recently and had come back and were dealing with, and a lot of them were doing some home distilling and learning about distilling as therapy
Yeah.
for what they were doing. And so
Yep.
you got to talk to all the veterans there, and it was really a special event. But talk about what that barrel you guys filled and signed.
Yeah. This barrel that we were started early that morning, and it's a all the proceeds from that barrel when it comes of age are going to be donated to veterans groups and homeless veterans groups that to help finance them and and also to veterans that have PTSD and other things going on with them that need financial help. So that was the coolest thing, and I believe there was about a total of 39 veterans that were actually able to make it there that weekend. So the whole total of 50 weren't able to make it there, but about 39 of us made it up there to do that, and we all signed the barrel along with the distillers of Stolen Wolf there that day.
Excellent. So, all right. So the next one we're gonna do, we did the hand barrel. That one is like that military tie and buying that. I would suggest. I mean, it was done at it's the mash bill. It was distilled at Bardstown, aged. I mean, it's good
One
quality
of the
bourbon.
things, that barrel is going to be released, if I'm not mistaken, in 2026,
Right.
which is the 200th year anniversary of the independence of America.
Okay.
So
Yeah. So that's what's happening at Stolen Wolf. And when that happens, we'll push it because that's going to be for America's
absolutely,
birthday. That's a special thing. And I'm going to want to get a bottle of it. I'm sure you're going to get a bunch of
oh
them.
yes,
So, and it should be pretty cool. Jesus, we're getting hacked. Ignore this Jay Bergen. I mean, I'll have to block him at one point. Let's see if I can do it right now. All right. Block. Okay, I'm just gonna try because he's like totally.
spamming every one of us in here.
Yep, there it goes. Blocked. Confirm. No more for you, Jay. Close. All right, go back to
Right,
I'm gonna go back to the. Yep, there we are. All right, he's done.
right.
Everybody ignore that. Yeah, it's going. All right, Jude. Yeah, damn bots, as he
This
says.
is pretty good. A lot of corn,
Oh
like
yeah, I like it.
like yeah, like some fresh baked bread is sweet.
Okay. All right. So the next
Oh,
one is a newer distillery. They changed their name. Greg Keeley's the owner and his wife. They
from
changed
Lawrenceburg to Larrikin.
Larkin, and they are veteran owned. Both of them served. He actually served in the Australian, whatever you call it, the Australian military, and then came met his wife, and then served in the U.S. military. And they both are veterans, and this is a veteran-owned distillery that is very proud of its heritage in the United States and Australia. Larkin, it's a great bottle top. It's got a kangaroo boxing. It's pretty good. Initially, it was called Laura, but this Larkin, they're right next to Wild Turkey. It's a must stop. Great gift shop and tasting room. I think it's lit.
It's about a
One of
mile
the
down the
best.
road from
We've
Wild
done
Turkey.
podcasts with Greg a couple times. We've had him on, and this year we introduced his bottled and bond. Tonight we're gonna sip on his. I'm sipping on his American maple. It looks like you are too.
One of the first, because this is another good thing. There's a lot of veterans that like to smoke cigars along with their whiskey, right?
Yep.
Well, Greg has got the first walk-in humidor inside his distillery at Larkin Bourbon Company. So if you get a chance, go by there and check that out, guys.
So Walker said it was
Won't
Australian.
disappoint.
He was in Australian Navy too. That's where he was. And thank you,
Yes.
Walker, for your current service. We did your kind and generous donation. We've already tasted Hand Barrel. I opened mine.
Walker,
Fantastic
cheers.
on this Veterans Day. Veterans Day. I like to say veteran. I don't even pronounce it right, but we're on a Larkin, as you said, and with Greg, and they are veterans, and it's wonderful. This maple, they do some fantastic whiskey there. It's a combination of stuff that he's distilled from other. He's got barrels of a lifetime of barrels that he's had through other distilling endeavors. Plus, he purchases barrels and puts them out. And they're in the process of building a little pot still there that they're going to do. But what they do there is some damn good Kentucky bourbon. Their palates are fantastic. He was.
And don't forget about the rye whiskey too, like this 10-year rye whiskey that he does. It is fabulous.
I have a bottle here. Let's see what it is. I have the high wheat rye whiskey. I don't even know
that one.
What
year is that? I mean, how many years? 5 year?
Nope. This is a 7-year.
It's squinting. Where's your glasses at?
It's 7-year.
Look, I don't know if you noticed, I got prescription readers.
Hey, look at that. Can you see the 7?
See, I got prescription readers, but I can't read that with my readers on.
It's a high wheat rye whiskey, which makes so it's rye, wheat, and barley, and I've got that one.
That's is that Lawrenceburg?
Yeah.
Did I get a bottle of that? I can't remember if I did or not.
And then I have this Kentucky bourbon whiskey from one barrel, and this is a 4-year, but this is that one barrel that won all those prestigious awards that he put out the first year. So I've got that bottle.
Yes, you do.
So I've got a couple more.
A couple in there that I brought back that I hadn't opened up yet. I got no room on my shelves.
So, they do some really creative stuff.
Now, why didn't you break this out? Big shout out to the 39th Parallel whiskey.
There you go. There was another one called, I forget, they were on.
It was distilled in Indiana, bottled by Bluegrass Bottling, Stamford, Kentucky. We know who that is.
Who?
Bluegrass Bottling.
Oh, yeah, we do.
In Indiana.
In where?
Indiana.
There's no such thing as Bluegrass Bottling in Indiana.
Yes, there is. Distilled in Indiana, bottled at
Bluegrass. I know where Bluegrass is because I went there.
Okay.
Distilled in Indiana. Everything that's distilled in Indiana is Ross and Squibb.
39th Parallel. This was the line that separated our country during one of the greatest conflicts called the Civil War.
This maple that he has, did you take a little sip of that maple on the Larrikin?
Yes, I did. Yeah, this bottle was given to me. My friend that lives up in New York, his friend is the one that does this bottling.
So
all that.
I was reading about Zachary. Which president was last name Zachary? Are you good? Anyways, so when we were talking about that last week, when we were doing the election podcast, his dad was 70 years old when he was the last child born. And then he was 75 years old.
Zachary Taylor.
Yep, Zachary Taylor was 70. He was 70 years old. Thank you. When his last child was born, so his son that was born when he was 70 lived to be 75. And at 75 fathered another son. So right now, the grandson of Zachary Taylor is alive as of March of 2024. He's the because they had children so late and they were the last ones, each one, he is still alive. He's the oldest living um you know grand in just 2 generations away of any president of anybody.
Wow.
So that's kind of cool. But let's get into this bottle right here. So Evan Williams,
American Hero.
I'm wearing my Evan Williams hat here because Evan Williams does a really nice thing every year. They're American owned, American made, American proud, but they do this American Heroes bottle. And you pick it up. It's regular Evan Williams, which is, in my opinion, damn good anyways. Well,
Just in a
I need the
special,
readers, not the
label.
prescription readers, but I need them. But this American Hero bottle honors American people who served and they were heroes. So this one was Jonathan Hiltz. He was a corporal in the U.S. Marine Corps. Jonathan served as a nuclear, biological, and chemical defense specialist in Iraq. Today, he serves other veterans as a peer support specialist. He established 2 non-profits, the Arise Veteran Foundation and Love Goes, to help alleviate poverty and support the homeless of the veterans. So, fantastic person. They honor him at Evan Williams, and that's another thing that on this day, this is a day. I've had this bottle for a couple years because I'll be buying another Heroes one coming up soon when we go. But
You still got half a bottle left. Wow, that's unusual.
unusual. It's like all my bottles, and you know why they're half? Because they were only 3/4 and they've evaporated. But I will have that pour and cheer.
That he even uses readers now below a certain font.
Who?
Walker.
He doesn't know what's going to happen.
Oh, I know.
It gets to a crazy level. But anyways, and
Just like the girl that was sitting there giving me my eye test and all that and fitting me for these readers. Sherry was sitting there getting her new glasses and all that. And I was like, I just need readers. I said, I don't need anything else. And they just laughed. He just don't know what's coming, does he? I said, I'm at least 10 years away. And they just both busted out laughing. Yeah.
I will say though, somebody just made a comment: alcoholism and diabetes in one video. And I just don't like when people they just don't understand the majority of the people who drink and the respect you have for the spirit. The spirit is an American spirit. America doesn't exist without this spirit. Basically, during the Civil War, even though leading up to it, the temperance movement was starting to gain a foothold. But during the war, Abraham Lincoln, who didn't even drink, wanted to find out what Ulysses S. Grant, what whiskey he wanted, which was Old Crow. And he wanted to send a barrel of that to all the other generals because they all fought under Grant. They all fought so well. He wanted everybody to be drinking the same whiskey. Whiskey was medicine. It was it was being used to get through the hardships of watching people die and everything. It was such a integral part of what we are as a country. It's been there from the start. A still was brought over on when the Pilgrims came over, and it's just been every bit a part of what how America has paid for all of its wars, how America uses the taxes. It's so important to our economy. And as we say every time, when drank responsibly, and you don't drink and drive, and you drink responsibly, and you basically know that if you abuse it, that there will be health concerns, but it's something that people can keep under control, which is like 98% of our population. It's just the 2% that is the evil part of what happens to people, the people who can't control themselves. But sometimes I contend that it's very rare that, there's not a lot of people who start off that they're not addictive personalities and they eventually become addictive. It's more like you have an addictive personality, and if it wasn't going to be alcohol, it's going to be some drug. There's a reason why people do so much, and there's not much we can do except promote the drinking of the spirit responsibly. But they support our veterans so much through the foundations and everything that everybody does. So, it's just like when people are just so close minded. I understand some people have to be close minded because they might be one of those people that if they just have a few, they can't control themselves. Everybody has to deal with this in their own way. But I want to just raise my glass tonight to you, Super Nash, to whiskey, to all the veterans out here who have served. It's just this day is important. All the military days are important because just as whiskey has been important and bourbon has been important to our society as far as financially paying for every war we've ever been in, but it's also the people who fight those wars and support our military and are in our military day in and day out. They are sacrificing something that other people don't sacrifice, and we here at the Scotchy Bourbon Boys very, very much appreciate that.
Absolutely.
Cheers to everyone out
Cheers
there.
to everyone and all the veterans
And all the heroes.
and all the heroes. And I don't know if you've noticed, but I support all veterans from all the special forces of the United States. But me being Army, I lit up my bottle collection in Army green and wearing my Army green tonight. So go Army.
Hey, I'm wearing my Evan Williams camouflage for all the heroes that they represent. But I just completely, I just respect every aspect of the military and, the people and what they've done. So this is a day
Absolutely.
to be humble and realize that is how important what people have done for us. All the people who have come before
Absolutely.
us.
And the sacrifices, like I say, all the veterans have made. I just can't tell you how thankful and appreciative I am and my family is. Cheers once again.
Cheers. All right. So we said it was going to be brief, and we're going to stay with that. So right at the mark that I usually shoot for, and usually then double.
Yeah.
So everybody, thanks for coming on tonight, listening to us, watching us. We very much appreciate it. This is a very important night. Remember www.scotchybourbonboys.com for all things Scotchy Bourbon Boys. We've got Glencairns. We've got t-shirts. Well, there's going to be some bourbon balls. I think there's going to be some bourbon balls in the future with this maple. But remember, we're on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and X. We've been pushing all of those lately. We're doing our best. I'm really happy with what's been going on with X. And then also remember that we are on all the podcast formats. But no matter what you're listening or watching, make sure you listen, like, subscribe, and leave good feedback and comments, because those are the things that drive the podcast. anybody listening, please go to if you're listening on Apple, if you're listening on iHeart, if you're listening on Spotify, go and leave good feedback. Give us a 5-star rating. Anything to get our rating up, it would be fantastic. It's amazing. We don't have that many reviews. So if you can give us a review, that helps out. And make sure you go there and do that. And then also, once again, we do this for a reason, because we love the people that we've met and all the people in the industry. The whiskey and bourbon industry is so fantastic, even from every part of it. I mean, we know Ann Dimmick from OHLQ. We know Greg Schneider and Alan Bishop, master distillers. We know Sandy No, the mom of Freddie No, and we know so many different people. Stacy, it's Stacy Pritchard, who one of the main people at Kentucky Bourbon Festival. But then Sarah Evans and Shannon Hood, helpers, but they're going to be coming up to the Christmas party. And I'll throw out that we got the Christmas party coming up. It is December 27th, Friday, December 27th at Chervasy Winery and Distillery.
Wow, miss this.
Yeah, you want to come up, because Super Nash is working on what he's going to be doing for giveaways. We're expecting now that Andrew's not there. I might have to pitch in too, and we need to do a couple giveaways that people are going to be shocked at. So make sure you stop in, let us know, check it out on Facebook, and let us know you're coming. And we're going to be down December 13th with Four Roses and Brent Elliott, and it's going to be just a great season coming up. So look for where we're at, find us, and the holiday season's just starting. So this has been great. So remember, let's do this together. Good bourbon equals
good friends
and good times. Remember,
drink responsibly.
Don't drink and drive.
And live your life uncut and unfiltered.
And little Steve-O's gonna take us out.
Drew and Jamie.
Oh, show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to.
Damn. Let's do that again. Why that shut it off, I don't know.
Drew, it was our pleasure, and God bless you too.
Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. Show me the way to the next whiskey bar. Oh, don't ask why. Oh, don't ask why. For if we don't find the next whiskey bar, I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die. I tell you we must die.
All right, so that was interesting. Everybody got a little extra bonus Steve-O. I don't know. I switched over just to the podcast, and it was like, oh, I shut it off. Then turn it back on, switch back over, and it didn't turn it off. But yeah, Matt was there. Happy anniversary. That was we got to hang out with Matt. Once again, it's Tater Dom is defending us on YouTube. I really appreciate that. They're like, he's like the one person that Ivan Green was that I mentioned his comment. He's like, hater. So anyways, we threw one out tonight. That's great. Appreciate Walker. We appreciate your current service. I mean, it's funny because Walker can't be. It's today, so Matt's actual anniversary is today. So good thing I can't come over there, Matt, and screw it up like I did on. So we went. I met.
Cheers, Matt. Happy anniversary, brother.
Yeah, and Matt and his wife were down here at Gervasi where we're going to have the Christmas party. They were staying at an Airbnb close in 1800s house, and they were over there. And Matt had mentioned he's going to be there, but I had my granddaughter in town. But my wife had somebody in labor, so she went to bed early, and my granddaughter fell asleep. And I'm like, is it all right if I head over to head over to Gervasi and hang out with Matt? And I wanted to smoke a cigar really bad. We had those cigars from Kentucky Bourbon Festival from the military people.
Yeah,
So
okay.
so I had a couple of those and I took that over, and me and Matt, I met Matt over there. Mike was over there. We grabbed a pour, went out and were smoking a cigar. And I didn't realize it was Matt's anniversary weekend kind of thing. So I kind of got in trouble a little bit with him, with his wife, but at the same time, it was I had been wanting to smoke that cigar in a celebration of the week with my wife becoming certified, midwife, and a certified practicing midwife. And then also the election results I was quite happy with. And that cigar, smoking that with Matt that evening, and having actually Mike got us a pour of Oceans 24. They had Oceans 24 there, and that paired up with the cigar that I had, and I was able to really, really enjoy the cigar and enjoy something that was just unique in itself to be able to go over there and spend some time with somebody. Matt does Cleveland on the Rocks. If anybody doesn't know, you should check that out. It's all he does beer. It's tequila, bourbon, whiskey. Now his wife was informing us that it was a lot more beer and whiskey than it was anything else. So she let us know that. But that was kind of cool, and the whole thing was great, and had a great time. And and thank you, Super Nash. We're gonna end this because I know you got to go. I promised you short, and we're gonna keep it short.
I found a new cigar supplier today in Greenville. Met this guy, and he's been in business for a little over 40 years.
You're gonna get us Rocky Patel's?
I got some today. I've got some anniversary. Oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe what I got today.
So you're gonna bring those up?
Yep.
That is going to be a Christmas party. Hopefully we can. Hopefully the weather. I mean, the way the weather's been holding, I understand it's December 27th.
I really enjoyed 2 years ago when it started snowing heavily at Gervasi. During the 2 years ago when it started snowing, we're out there smoking cigars.
Mm-hmm. It's beautiful, right? You're from
Oh.
South Carolina. That was not heavily, but it was snowing.
Well,
It has not snowed heavily in Ohio we're going on 3 freaking years.
There was 2 inches on the ground that night.
That is not heavy snow. Is 6 to 10 inches. That's a heavy snow.
Well, I mean, I enjoyed it because I don't get to see it very often unless I travel up into the mountains.
Yeah, that was a fun travel on the way home this year from Florida in February. I remember going up to that pass. That was crazy. You couldn't tell the difference between the snow and the salt.
Yeah, we went across it the next day. That was nuts. All right, brother.
All right, so we're going to end this quickly. I'm going to end it on YouTube. It looked like it was decent. Thank you, everybody on YouTube. We'll see you tomorrow night. I haven't figured out what I'm doing tomorrow night, but I'm going to do something. Of course, I'm
Well,
going to end it with
I'm going to leave all this set up so it'll.
coming on tomorrow night. All right.
Yep.
Awesome. I will let you